Hello viewers, I'm Sadia Khan and you're watching YouTube channel Learn with Sadia. My topic for this video is differences between DNA and RNA. See, DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid and RNA stands for ribonucleic acids. So, DNA and RNA are the genetic material usually present in living organisms, and sometimes they are present in nucleus, and other than that sometimes they are also present in other organelles of the cell. So, let us discuss differences. The very first point is DNA. See, DNA, it has got two strands of nucleotides. Usually, like we say, building blocks. For a building, bricks are the building blocks. In the same way, for DNA, nucleotides are the building blocks. So many nucleotides together they form DNA. So there are two strands in case of DNA. When it comes to RNA, that is ribonucleic acid, it has only one strand of nucleotides. Here again, nucleotides are the building blocks of RNA also. In case of DNA, we can see two strands, but in case of RNA, there is only one strand of nucleotides. So where is this DNA present inside the cell? The DNA, see, most of the DNA is present in the nucleus of the cell. Okay, usually in the central region of the cell there will be nucleus, so DNA will be located inside the nucleus. So much quantity of the DNA will be present inside the nucleus, and a very little quantity of DNA can be seen in chloroplast as well as in mitochondria. So where is the RNA present? See, most of the RNA, it will be present in cytoplasm and a little will be present in nucleus. See, exactly opposite to the location of DNA. DNA is majorly present in nucleus and little quantity in other organelles, whereas RNA, it is majorly present in cytoplasm and little quantity of ribonucleic acid is also present in the nucleus. Coming to the third point, the sugar present in the DNA, the sugar present in the nucleotide of DNA is deoxyribose. Chemically, it is C5H10O4. And the sugar present in RNA is ribose sugar. Deoxyribose in DNA, ribose sugar in nucleotide of RNA. With chemical formula C5H10O5. Here you can notice there is a difference of only one oxygen between deoxyribose and ribose sugar. See, as we know that nucleotides are the building blocks of both DNA and RNA, these nucleotides contain purines and pyrimidines. Okay, they contain purines as well as pyrimidines. Purines are same in both DNA and RNA. When it comes to pyrimidines, in case of DNA, the pyrimidines are thymine and cytosine. The pyrimidines in DNA are thymine and cytosine. Whereas in RNA, pyrimidines are uracil and cytosine. Cytosine is common, it is same both in case of DNA and RNA. But you can see thymine in DNA and uracil in RNA. See, as we know, both DNA and RNA made of nucleotides, but what is the number of nucleotides present in them? DNA is made up of several nucleotides. Here several means the number will move up to 4 million. More than 4 million nucleotides are present in DNA. See, usually much quantity of DNA will be present. So obviously more number of nucleotides will be present. Now moving to the RNA. RNA is made of few nucleotides. 75 to 2000 or more in case of mRNA. Usually the range is 75 to 2000, but in case of mRNA, the number will be slight more. See, DNA is a genetic material and it undergoes self-replication. So, DNA, in order to produce more of its copies, it will undergo a process called as replication. As DNA is a genetic material, it will undergo self-replication. Now coming to RNA. RNA is non-genetic material. It is not a genetic material. Okay. RNA, it has got its own uses like protein synthesis and all, but it is not non-genetic material and does not undergo self-replication. See here, Usually, in every cell, like in human beings and animals, DNA is genetic material. It will undergo self-replication, but RNA is non-genetic material and it does not undergo any self-replication except in case of RNA viruses. See, in viruses, RNA is the genetic material. There it might undergo self-replication, but not in other organisms. Moving to the next point, DNA undergoes replication, produces several copies of DNA. And this DNA, it will produce RNA by a process called as transcription. So, DNA undergoes a process called as transcription and it will produce RNA. This RNA, it will undergo a process called as translation and it will produce protein. Here you can see in the 7th point, DNA undergoes transcription, produces RNA. RNA is undergoing translation. Translation means process of protein synthesis. RNA undergoes translation and produces protein. So coming to the kinds of DNA, metabolically DNA is only of one type. When we consider RNA, it is of three types. Here base pairing is AT. See, A stands for adenine, T stands for thymine. So there is double bond between A and T. Here you can see the base pairing in case of RNA. A is pairing up with U. There is no thymine in case of RNA. There is uracil. So the bond is between A and T. Here the bond is between A and U. You can notice the double bond. Coming to purines, purines are common. Guanine, cytosine, triple bond. Guanine, cytosine, triple bond. That is the common feature we can notice both in DNA and RNA as well. See here, coming to the lifetime, DNA is long-lived, whereas this RNA is short-lived. Now moving to the structure, you can see the structure of DNA in the 11th point. It is anti-parallel helix. See, what is anti-parallel? Here two strands are actually parallel but in opposite direction. That is the reason we say anti-parallel. So if you can notice in the picture, if one strand is extending from 3' to 5', the other is extending from 5' to 3'. So this is called as anti-parallel, and as they are forming a helical shaped structure, the DNA structure is called as anti-parallel helix. Now whereas in RNA, we know that there is a single strand and that single strand will be present as hairpin and loop. Hope you got clarity regarding the differences between DNA and RNA. Thanks for watching the video. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and do not forget to like, share and comment the video. Thank you.